So here's the video section of the completion report. It's basically I'm just going to go through everything that I did through the process, and then at the end I'll just tell you how well the whole system's functioning. So start off with the deployment plan. In this section, I listed every task that was required to be completed, along with the amount of time it would take to complete, um, the date and time I need access to the site, and how long it would be down. And it turns out that hardly any of the services would have to be down, and then it wouldn't really affect the business time, except the business would have to be open just a little bit for about 2 hours or so, 2 or 3 hours or so, just to test properly. I thought it was best to do that out of hours rather than during hours, just so business wasn't interrupted. Anyway, here's the IP configuration. That's pretty straightforward. The server installation. These are the computer names, the IPs, and the hardware specifications I was given to create each machine. Here are just some screenshots showing that I did the correct configuration. So good. With RAID, when machines required mirroring so the operating system could boot even if the hard drive failed. And on each on the file server too, a priority volume was assigned to the D drive. Now the Active Directory structure design. When designing the Active Directory structure, the first step was creating the user account naming policy. So that is this here, the users would use the first letter of their first name and the remainder of their last name. So if there's multiple people, then a number will be tacked onto the end, just like incrementing for each person that's the same. It would be really unlikely there's more than a couple people with the same name. So, for example, Evan Erfel would have the username E Erfel. I would have T Jaffer because my name's Tom Jaffer, etc. And for computers, each one with a different department would have like their name, which is shortened if it's needed. So like this office admin, R&D, production, CEO, all that stuff. And then there'll be a number on the end for each different machine. So the first step in creating the actual organization units and the groups. Actually, I didn't do domain local groups first. I created like the separate users first. I put them in their correct folders here, and put a global group in each folder as well. And then I assigned all these workers here, which is down here. I assigned all these workers here into that folder. I mean, into that group, sorry. And then I determined what domain local groups were required afterwards and created them ready to use in the resource sharing section, this is just showing that I did everything correctly. All these are created automatically, and then down here it's showing the resource sharing section. So on the D drive I created these folders, and then the folders that will be shared, that's what this is, and then I assigned the correct permissions for each one. I mean, I was given like these, and I had to assign that for each one. Yeah, and here I assigned the domain local groups to each folder. So this one's the administration folder. So I assigned domain local administration modifier to it and administration right to it. And then in those domain local groups, I assigned those global groups before that I mentioned just before. And then that finishes it. That's basically it. I explained a little bit, basically. So the backup section. Since the previous system just relied on the individual users, which obviously isn't very reliable, it's suggested they use the Windows Server backup tool. The backups will be saved for about 12 months, or up to 12 months, and then they'll be deleted to save space. And these backups wouldn't only be saved locally, but also on external hard drives or a network drive, which is stored off-site and physically locked away just for security reasons. Um, there's also the Windows Server Update service, which just in this case, makes sure that Windows 10 and Windows Server 2016 are updated automatically and kept up to date. In the DHCP scope, this is just showing that that was created correctly. That was all done correctly. The DNS server is configured with the standard forward lookup and reverse lookup zones, and pointers for the machines and an alias, all that. Client section, I was just making sure everything worked correctly for the client so they could log in, printers were installed, drives were mapped correctly, all that. And performance monitoring was done to check if it could keep up with the amount of load it would be put under. It was just like a test to make sure that it could. In troubleshooting, the VMware cloning technique was used to create a new server, and there's a few errors that were analyzed and fixed in this section, or shown how to fix in this section anyway. And then there's a completion part, which is what we're up to now. So, thank you.